he ordered his servants to chop off his foot using an axe. Welcome to the Culture of Currency. This channel is dedicated to the love of currency collecting and the cultures that inspired them. This channel is new to YouTube, and thus being said, please support us by subscribing, liking, and commenting. If you have a coin you would like to see me make a video about, please let me know by commenting below. Our video today will be the first in a three-part series highlighting the 825th anniversary of the Austrian Mint. That's right, this video is not about the Austrian Philharmonic, which has been done 1,000 times. The three coins represented in this video will be the Austrian Leopold, Wiener Neustadt, and Robin Hood. I will be doing my series out of order of the mint's order due to historic chronology. Today we will be focusing on the Austrian Leopold coin and the culture in which this coin is relevant for the 825th anniversary of the Austrian Mint. Let's start by looking at the front of the coin. We see at the top an inscription, Republik Österreich, which means the Republic of Austria. We then see what looks to be a Byzantine-era knight or soldier, which after doing research on the coin is a crusader that holds Leopold V's banner of red and white. The banner denotes that this would probably be after the fall of Acre, which is one of the things that Leopold is most known for. The knight is holding a Norman-age shield, which is characteristically known by its kite shape. Here are two examples of knights in regalia that would be characteristic of this time. Obviously, the colors are different because these are not the colors of Leopold. Under the knight, we see the euro mark and the mint date of 2019 and the denotation of 1 ounce of fine silver. Let's flip to the back, where we see the mighty Leopold himself. On a banner towards the top, we see the number 1194, which relates to the year of his death, which we will talk about later in detail, but it is an epic story. Also, we see Leopold in full knight regalia, holding a crusader sword, which is highly adorned, which is a pretty good indicator of his rank and nobility. You would not have jewels in your ricasso or any part of the sword unless you had some type of rank, which usually got passed down. This is such a remarkable coin on both sides, and this set of three is probably my favorite with the exception of the Robin Hood coin, which we will get to in later videos, but let's just say I'm kind of disappointed with that one. Now, let's go into the history and culture that leads to this coin, and well, frankly, the Austrian Mint. I have three books that I've picked up over the years, as well as the internet, and my own experience of being knighted and observing others being knighted to really take into effect of where I get my information. We start off with whom Leopold is. Leopold was called Leopold the Virtuous, or Tugendhafte, and he was born in 1157 AD to an existing province of the Holy Roman Emperor in what we would consider now Austria. This area was enveloped into the Holy Roman Empire in 976 AD. In order to not bore you too much, I'll go ahead and skip forward in his life to the area of our concern, which is Leopold's involvement in the Third Crusade, which took place from approximately 1189 to 1192 AD. Leopold likely arrived with many of his knights that bore allegiance to him during the final siege of Acre. That would be in the spring of 1191, in which he led his forces to a victory over Saladin, who had basically kicked everyone's butt for a while now. Somewhere between spring and summer of that, King Philip II of France and King Richard arrived with their forces, which really led to Saladin basically settling out. On July 12th, after months of fighting, Acre was finally surrendered. Legend had it that Leopold's tunic was consistently covered in blood, but would adorn a white belt atop the blood-soaked garments, thus lending us to the red and white that Leopold was granted in being the new flag of Austria. And still today in Austria, you can see their flag is red with a white stripe. Kind of gruesome, but kind of awesome. In Jerusalem rose three banners after the victory, one being of England, one being of France, and one being of Austria. Leopold's cousin, who was a noble from Italy named Conrad, raised the banner for Austria, but Richard didn't want that, and he took it down, which is one of the reasons Leopold left the Holy Land to return home. He was very, very upset with how he was treated, and in that time, pride was everything. He arrived back home in 1191, but departed in 1192 to see the Emperor Henry VI to complain about Richard and his involvement in what basically was alleged in the assassination of Conrad, decreeing that it was Richard who had hired the Hashashins, or what we know to be assassins. Basically, some of Conrad's knights in the skirmish captured one of the Hashashins. They tortured him, and that particular Hashashin said that it was Richard who funded this. But none of that could ever be proven because, as we know with torture, people will say whatever you want in order to get the pain to stop. Fast forward to Christmas time, winter of 1192, Richard left the Holy Land to come back home, but the French ports were closed, and so he had to go a different route, which puts him in Austria, where he was spotted and arrested under the murder charges for Conrad and basically held in Dürnstein Castle, which he stayed there and overlooked the Danube River. He was then handed over back to the same emperor that was complained to by Leopold, and as part of the justice, King Richard had to have one of his daughters marry a son in the Austrian line to broker the peace, as well as turn over 35,000 kilograms ransom of silver. To give you an idea, currently spot-on silver is around $18. There are 35.274 ounces in a kilogram, so that means it would have had a value today of $22 million, actually a bit more. This money in their time would actually have more weight due to the way their society was structured. There was only rich and poor, no middle class, so any silver would have been substantial. The silver went towards creating many things, including the Vienna Mint, which we all are so thankful for, the city walls of Vienna, which they obviously were so thankful for, and two towns, Wiener Neustadt and Freiburg, which we will do a video about Wiener Neustadt later. So back to Leopold. He made off like a bandit, capturing King Richard, who he released with the terms agreed upon, but at a cost. He had violated a papal decree by taking in a fellow crusade prisoner, and was excommunicated by Pope Celestine III, which was a big deal, especially back then, when it basically meant that you were in isolation and that it was basically no longer an ordination by God that you were the leader of these people. It's a huge deal. Knowing that he had to get back in the good graces of the Pope, he tried to organize a new crusade so that he could be absolved and taken back into the safety of the Holy Roman Empire. Everything was going to plan until 1194, when at a tournament, a horse fell on his foot, crushing it. Leopold's medical crew, who I assume did not graduate with a medical degree, suggested amputation, but none of them wanted to perform the operation. Leopold then did something that not many of us would do. He ordered his servants to chop off his foot using an axe. After 3 swings, it was done, but gangrene eventually set in, which led to the rapid decline of his health. Leopold, knowing that he was dying, summoned the Archbishop of Salzburg to reconcile him with the church, which was granted, causing Leopold, who passed away shortly after, to be afforded a Christian burial. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to doing the next 2 videos and hope to have 1 video posted a week from here on out. The next video will be over the Robin Hood coin, which I currently loathe, and I will explain why at that time. Please comment below why you think I hate this coin. Please remember to like and subscribe so that I can continue to bring content like this to you, and always thank you for learning the culture of currency.